We are locked on Houston Astros, and we are also locked on the Angels today. And you can find us on wherever you listen to your podcast. And I'm a little thrown off today, but that's fine. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me at Eric Talkstros. And Brett, where can I find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter and at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
And we have a special guest, Brent McGuire, all the way from California. He covers some team that has halos, and they have some player named Trout and some Otani guy. Where can I find you on Twitter?
Yeah, that's a good description of the Angels. You can find me on Twitter at bmags94.
All right, guys. So don't forget, you can listen to our podcast or the Locked On Angels podcast on radio.com, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. And guys, we got an interesting show tonight. We're going to be looking at kind of comparing the Angels versus the Astros and just kind of seeing who has the competitive edge, because honestly, I don't know a lot about the Angels. I feel like I know a lot about the Athletics. I know a little bit about the Rangers, not a lot about the Mariners, but I don't know a lot about the Angels. So I think Astros fans, we're going to learn a lot about the Angels today. And I think, I don't know about you, Brent, but I'm sure you know a lot about the Astros. But any questions you got for us, we can go ahead and address those as well. So let's go and get started on this. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the Locker Room app. Today's episode is brought to you by Locker Room. Download the app and join me this week. I believe we're going to do it on Thursday night. Correct me, Brent. I think we're going to do it on Thursday night.
Yes, on Thursday night.
Get into the action. Locker Room, it's changing the way you talk sports. Brent, have you decided when you're going to do it this week?
Yep, going to do it at 5 o'clock Pacific time on Friday.
Ooh, okay. Friday nights. All right.
Nice.
So Friday night on Locker Room with Brent. All right. So let's go and move on and talk about the Angels hitters. So besides, without using the words Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon, describe your hitters.
So there have been a lot of moving parts the last couple years. I will say, I think the lineup is a little bit deeper this year than it's been in the years past. David Fletcher is a legitimately good everyday player, and that's something the Angels have kind of struggled to build around Mike Trout.
Right.
Jared Walsh hit the crap out of the ball to end the season last year. He's their first base guy. He's probably going to play every day. He's looking pretty good. Gets a little dicey after that. Justin Upton, Albert Pujols, whatever they have left in the tank, they're going to be getting a lot of at-bats. Dexter Fowler in right field, not feeling too great about that one. And then you've got Jose Iglesias. He's a new addition to the team at shortstop. And the catching tandem of Max Stassi, who you're familiar with, and Kurt Suzuki should be fine. Overall, this is probably going to be like a top 10 offense in the sport, but we'll talk about it later. It really just depends on what the pitching is going to be like.
Yeah, that is, I don't know if you listened to our show that we had Sully on, or Sully had us on, and we were talking about the Astros. His description is best, and I've kind of been overusing it. He said, you've been handed the son of Zeus and Mike Trout, and you failed to put a team around him. Is that a sentiment for the Angels fan base and their, Angels Nation? Is that a frustration that you guys have? Because from the outside looking in, it's like, how can you have a guy this generationally good and not even touch the playoffs, right?
That's a great question. And I will say Angels fans tend to get defensive when it's phrased that way, when there's this conversation about, are they wasting Mike Trout? It's almost like this instant reaction to go defend him and what the Angels have done. But Angels fans are they're frustrated. They're frustrated that they've got this generational talent. They've got guys like Rendon and Otani, and they just can't seem to do anything with it. Again, hopefully this is the year that things change, but yeah, it's like the same thing year after year. And I can tell you firsthand, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of talking about the narrative, but the only way you can fix that is going out there and winning.
So when the Angels went out and got Anthony Rendon, I know that there's talk about them trying to go out and get Garrett Cole. How close do you think that they were really out there getting Garrett Cole? And do you think that the Angels made the better choice in getting Rendon?
Good question. I think Garrett Cole obviously made a lot more sense for very obvious reasons, but the Yankees came up with a bigger offer. I do think the Angels made a competitive offer to bring him in. For those that are not familiar, Garrett Cole went to high school about 10 minutes away from Angel Stadium. So they did kind of have that geographic advantage to bring him in, but they just didn't give as much money to him.
Did he have a sign though? Did he have the sign that said, I forgot what that sign says,
Oh,
but
I know what you're talking about.
Oh, you mean the
Same.
one that says I still listen to Locked On Astros?
yes.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, we made a meme. Trust me, that will go up every time we go against Garrett Cole.
That was the first
that will
time
show
I
up.
did what do you call it, digital editing. I was proud of myself. You don't that's what happens when you put a white sign there. I was like, ooh, let me do this. So
Yeah.
but Anthony Rendon, I know that he was a big he actually was a big crutch against the Astros, and definitely in the World Series. And I know that he is somebody that the Astros are not looking forward to facing on a regular basis in this upcoming season. But looking at Joe Adell, what's going on with him? I know he was supposed to be this can't miss prospect. Is there still hopes that he can turn things around?
Long story short, I don't think he was ready last year to be playing in the major leagues. He struggled at his first go around in AAA. That obviously was not an option for him last year. So they brought him to the major leagues. And I believe they've been on record of saying they wanted to give their team a spark plug because they started so sluggishly. Didn't go well. Didn't hit, made some of those really rough plays in the field. I will say, I still have hope for him. I think he's going to be a good hitter. It's going to take time. There's some pretty obvious issues within the swing, and defensively there are issues. I'm still a believer, but he just needs some minor league time at this point.
So looking at Jared Walsh's beard, that's pretty impressive. I know we have some other beards out there, but you don't normally see that from an infielder. You see that from like maybe outfielder. I know that what's this guy, the outfielder in the Rockies.
Talking about Blackman?
Charlie.
Yeah,
Yep.
Blackman. You see some of those guys. You see some pictures out there, but I don't know why that just like threw me off. And so there's some talent out there. But what do you see Jared Walsh as? Do you see him as a 30 home run guy, or do you see him maybe as a 20 home run guy?
30 home runs might be pushing it a little bit for me, but honestly, if they get 20 home runs out of him, that's pretty big. We've kind of mentioned Pujols at this point, just isn't providing that much. They've been basically carrying dead weight at first base for the last handful of seasons, and that means no disrespect to Pujols. He just has not been very good for a while. Walsh is going to be decent. I don't know how good he's going to be, but I could absolutely see him hitting 20 home runs this year.
So besides, power, from Trout, so Trout, okay, tell me, is he typically leadoff?
Trout is usually, he's switched between second and third. He's batting
Okay.
third for most games right now.
Because it seems like when he hits his home runs, he hits a lot of solo home runs. What do you think the Angels need to do to get guys who need to be in front of him to get on base? Because if Mike Trout's hitting a 3-run home run a game versus 2 solo shots, that gives you an extra run that you didn't have. Who do you think they should be putting in front of him to get on base so he can knock more than just himself in?
I think the obvious one is Rendon. The guy hits for average and gets on base. It seems like the obvious fit. I'm surprised that the Angels haven't figured that out yet, because Trout's hitting third right now, but they're not necessarily putting maybe the best options ahead of him. I know Jared Walsh has been hitting second. I would rather put Rendon at number 2.
All right. So speaking of that, Brent, let's go and talk a little bit about the locker room app.
All right. Locker Room is the perfect place to start or join conversations about the league. You'll find fans just like you on Locker Room for watch parties, debates, post-game breakdowns, and of course, reacting to big news or rumors. Be sure to join me on Locked On Angels this week on Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. What about you guys?
We're probably going to be going live. We haven't really decided what time yet. It's probably going to be around 8:30 tomorrow.
I would say 8:30 on Thursday. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool. So make sure to go download the free Locker Room app right now, currently available on all iOS devices. Be sure to create a profile, link your Twitter, and join the MLB group for the latest league updates.
All right, it's March Madness time, Brett. So what does that mean for Built Bar?
Built Bar, we have the matchup, which I think is a slam dunk already because it seems like it's an unfair advantage. You have cookies and cream going against coconut almond in the enticing 8 for today's matchup. And if you go and check, you need to check to see who won the matchup between coconut brownie chunk and lemon almond cheesecake to keep up with this. Let me just tell you about Built Bar. I've tried all the protein bars on the market. Most of them are chalky. They have way too many calories and they fill you up way too much. Built Bar is the perfect, even if you're on a keto diet, they're perfect because they have low sugar, low carbs, high fiber, high protein, and they're not packing on the calories. So if you're trying to lose or maintain weight and you're the healthy, conscious guy or girl, you need to grab a Built Bar. I love the Built Puffs they have, but they have a kingdom of stuff. They have built like immune boosters. They have Built broth. I mean, you name it, they have it. Go to builtbar.com and use the code LOCKED15 to get 50% off your first order. builtbar.com.
Get all the sports news you need in under 20 minutes with the Locked On Today podcast, hosted by Peter Bukowski. He updates you on all the latest news in every major sports with the help of our local experts. Follow the Locked On Today podcast wherever you get your podcast. And I don't know if you saw what Brent did there, Brett, but he just hogged that whole first segment talking about that is so rude. So why don't you go and ask us some questions about the Astros lineup?
I was thinking the same thing. Once that last question came around, I'm like, I really need to ask about the Astros. So yeah, I kind of want to ask like just a generally like broad question, more of a macro level. What does this Astros offense and really just the team look like? They've obviously had quite a bit of turnover, at least at the top of the roster. No George Springer, obviously Garrett Cole left, no Justin Verlander for this year. What's the state of the team right now? How are things around the team right now? How do they feel about going into this season?
Well, I think that despite George Springer, I know that he was the heart of the team. He was the kind of the soul of the team. He left. Yes, there's a big hole to fill. But I think that this team, after being so close to making to another World Series, they went to the offseason hungry. And especially after everything that happened in 2020, all the scandal, everything, they went to the offseason. Jose Altuve had a bad offseason. Yuli Gurriel, Alex Bregman, everybody had a down year. So they went into this offseason. They're like, you know what? Let's try to get back to the World Series. And so they all went in there and they really worked to get back to where they're supposed to be. So I think everybody's in high spirits. Yordan Alvarez is back, healthy. We have Michael Brantley back. And the Astros did something that they don't normally do. They went out at the last minute and brought in Jake Odorizzi, and they didn't need to, but they did. And they kind of they're getting kind of dangerously close to luxury tax threshold, and so they may have hampered their chances of making a trade deadline addition. But I think that the Astros lineup, if everything goes right, this could be one of the deepest ones in the league. But a lot is going to be resting on Alvarez's knee, and also how good can Miles Straw be?
Yeah, this offense, I think if you were to ask them, they wouldn't feel like they've missed a beat at all. You would maybe mention Springer and they'd be like, yeah, we miss him. But I think that these hitters are just as confident as anybody else because they know the talent that they have. I mean, you have a former MVP in Jose Altuve. You have a guy that nearly beat Mike Trout for the MVP in 2019, I believe, in Alex Bregman. You got Carlos Correa, who's hungry, who has taken on the role of being the apex predator. And, he wants that money. He wants to get paid. And, I think this team is going to go out with something to prove, but I don't think they're going to go out with something to prove in a way that it hurts them. I think this team is going to be firing on all cylinders. And if this lineup does what it's supposed to do and Miles Straw catches a little bit of fire with that, you've got a 1-8 lineup that I would put up against pretty much anybody's.
So you two feel pretty confident about the lineup. I want to get your thoughts on the pitching. I do think this group's a little underrated. I still think the talent is there. Maybe some of the name value's not there. Yeah, the Garrett Coles and Justin Verlanders are not there. But I want to get your thoughts on the rotation, especially adding Jake Odorizzi.
Well, go ahead, Brent.
Oh no, I think that this rotation is in good shape. Now I say that with a little asterisk because, Christian,
Come
I mean not
on, come
dude,
on.
what? Dude, I can say asterisks. I can say like kiss my asterisk, stuff like that. Framber Valdez being out the first couple months does hurt a little bit. Okay. But Jose Urquidy is expecting himself to have a big year. Lance McCullers Jr. is further removed from his Tommy John. Zach Greinke is in more of a regular starting mode. So you have Christian Javier, who Eric is very, very high on. And you've got a starting rotation. You've got a back end guy in Odorizzi who will show up maybe the second series when we play y'all. And then Brandon Belak, who's fighting for the 5th spot. So while we don't have a lot of frontline 1-2 guys like waiting in the wings, I think we do have a pretty solid group starting pitching wise. And I think it's going to be catamount for them to perform to 5 or 6 innings to give the relievers a little bit of where they're not having to work too much in the front end of the season. Because I just looked at the schedules, guys. The Astros have the second easiest schedule, according to Fox, going into April. So
Is that because we're playing the Angels a lot?
I was
sorry.
See, I didn't say that. Eric did. Angels fans.
I'm kidding.
It's all good.
I think that the Astros, they don't have like the sexy guy. They don't have Justin Verlander to start being the ace, but they do have Lance McCullers, and he is pitching really well, and he is trying to be that ace. And Zach Greinke, he can be that guy. He's not throwing 100 miles per hour like he was early in his days, but he's reinvented himself. Odorizzi can be a decent guy, but he's been a consistent 5-inning guy. So you're going to have to push him. So there's a lot of 5 to 6 inning pitchers in the Astros rotation right now. So they can be serviceable, but we'll have to see. It's kind of a work in progress, but the Astros have some depth to the rotation right now. And once Framber Valdez returns, then he's that 7-8 inning guy, and he can eat up some innings. And so the Astros do have a deep rotation. It's just they're going to have to kind of piece things together until everybody's, because we did have a COVID, not outbreak, but we had one person contracted, and then there's due to the little buzzers that they had, they went ahead and
buzzers, asterisks. Jeez. What's next? Was it like a waste management commercial coming? I'm joking.
But the Locked On Angels crowd's gonna love this one.
But they had to isolate like 8 of the Astros pitchers. So Christian Javier and a couple of the other backup starters had to isolate themselves. So there's some people who are a little bit behind. So but what about the Angels? We're gonna have to take a break in a second. But what about the Angels rotation as a whole?
So this is not news to you guys. The rotation has been a problem. By wins above replacement and innings, they've been last in baseball for the past 5 years and for the past 2 years. It's been a problem, and that's putting it bluntly. I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic right now just because Ohtani's actually looking like he's healthy and is going to perform and give them something. We really did not know what was going to happen coming into spring. So the fact that he's doing what he's doing is semi-encouraging. Now, the rest of the rotation, yeah, there are question marks. I don't know what's going to end up happening. I like Dylan Bundy. I think Andrew Heaney is fine. Jose Quintana, Alex Cobb, whatever. They're decent additions. Griffin Canning's kind of a big part of this rotation. But really, you have a lot of the same question marks going into the season. There are injury concerns. There are performance concerns. I think they're going to be better, but the bar they have to clear is not that high. They've been near the bottom of the league for the past half decade. So they're going to take a step forward. It's just a matter of how far forward it is.
So what it sounds like is the Angels are betting on Shohei Ohtani to be that guy to pitch every 6th day. And is he going to be the leadoff hitter? We'll have to talk about that in a second. But speaking of betting, why don't you go to betonline.ag? It's the fastest and easiest way to bet on any sports you want to do, whether it's the NBA. You can't bet on football right now. Ha ha ha, Brett. But you can bet on college basketball, not. But you can, you can, it's still March Madness, and you can bet on NHL and baseball. I got my opening day tickets. I'm be going to opening day, April 8th, and everything's about to be in full swing. And you can bet on award shows, TV shows, and reality TV, whatever you want to bet on, just go bet on that. Real time updated odds, props, and anything you want to bet on, just go bet. And betonline.ag has you covered for all the news, scores, and odds. It's the best place to place all your wagers, and head to a website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline.ag, your online sportsbooks experts. Promo code locked on. So speaking of which, I know I was talking to Brent online, and Belching Beaver is a awesome brewery. And go and tell us a little bit about that, Brett.
Yeah. So since this is gonna be aired on Locked On Angels, let me tell you, they have 4 locations. I mean, they are basically in the Oceanside area. They have the Oceanside Brew House, Pub 980, North Park Tasting Room, and then a tavern and grill. And let me tell you, Brent, this place has been together since 2012. Their goal was to have a damn good time. They have easy drinking blondes, they have IPAs, they have milk stouts, anything you can imagine. Like, they have a mango hard seltzer that I'm probably going to go slam after this because I've had a long day. And so it's great because you can kick back, you can relax. And one of the cool things, Brent, have you ever heard of the Deftones?
I have.
They have partnered with the Deftones, and they have an IPA that's excellent. It's called Phantom Bride. It's phenomenal. They've come to Texas.
Phenomenal.
If you go to phenomenal, that's right. Rack 'em. So they've come to Texas. If you go to belchingbeaver.bev, you can find out where they're serving Belching Beaver brews. And if you're in Oceanside, you can go there. They can even deliver to you if you want. So go to belchingbeaver.com. We're here to have a damn good time.
All right, guys, after you're done listening to this podcast, go listen to the Locked On MLB podcast. Today, I believe that they're going to be breaking the division preview series. And I know Brett and I did a 5 to 7 minute video. I'm sure, Brett, you did yours. And we talk about all the big issues entering the 2021 season. So Sully's going to be hosting that, and he's going to be all the different podcasts are going to be hosting their own little thing. So go check out Sully at the Locked On MLB podcast. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about Shohei Ohtani. So this is he legit going to be in the lineup and pitching or on a regular basis, or is this only going to be when he's facing NL competition?
It remains to be seen. There's a very different switch in strategy. When he first came over to the Angels, there was a very strict, you're going to pitch this day, you're going to sit these days, so on and so forth. He came into this season saying, you know what, I'm going to just play whenever I feel like playing. And that's what they told the Angels. They seem to be okay with it. I think you're talking about doing this over a full 162 game season. I don't think it's feasible to see him play this much. I wouldn't put him past him to do it for most of the season. I don't know if I have the perfect answer for this. I really don't. I want to see it for very obvious reasons, but to see him do it over a full season, I don't know. The hype is obviously through the roof right now, but we've got to see it happen over a full season.
I was at his first game when he came to Minute Maid Park, and I just remember watching him warm up. And I don't know if I was mesmerized because it was Shohei Ohtani and there was all this buzz around him, but he just seemed to do things differently. He just seems very, very methodical out there. And you know, as an Astros fan, and you guys are a division rival. We're not like, hey, I hope y'all do great this year. We really don't, because then that would mean we're not doing great. But I guess we could both do great. And so let's just go with that. But I want to see someone like Ohtani do well because of his talent, because, the whole two-way Shohei is a really good storyline and has the ability to bring in fans that aren't normally baseball fans as well, because he's an interesting athlete, because we don't have that these days anymore. I mean, it's not like a Bo Jackson where you were like a two-sport athlete or like Deion Sanders, but there is some novelty there, and he's got the talent. And I think while he's young, the Angels need to let him go out. And if he feels good, let him play. Don't baby him. I think that's one of my biggest gripes with professional world-class athletes, is I think they baby him too much. And I understand there's millions and millions of dollars invested. I get that. But at some point, if they're the elite athletes you say they are, and they've got all these great programs, their bodies can take it. Maybe not for their whole career. Let him ball out. Let him go out there and play as much as he wants. Why not?
But to add on to that, what if the Angels are thinking this? We can let him ball out this year, but what if that takes away 3 years of his career? So, I mean, that's something to consider. I mean, we can let him go pitch every 6 day and have him play every 4 or 5 days or whatever he wants to do. But what if that just wears out his whole body, and then he has to retire at the age of 34 or something. So
Yeah.
that's something they could be considering too. So that's something that they could be looking at too. So let's kind of move on from Otani and kind of look at the division as a whole. Where, Brent, do you see the Angels realistically come at the end of the season?
I'm really set on 84 wins right now. I feel like they're going to improve upon where they've been at in recent years, but there's just too many question marks for me to project them any higher. I still think they're going to finish second or third. I've got the Astros winning the division right now. That's going to get me in some hot water with whoever listens to this from the Angels side. But yeah, until the Angels prove me wrong, I have too many concerns about the pitching right now.
No, you're cool with me. You're fine.
Yeah, hey, I have no problems with that prediction. Good job. Yes, me too. I think the Angels can grab the wild card. I think the Angels can beat the Oakland A's. Now, the Oakland A's are a pesky foe. The Mariners randomly may provide some crazy win streak where everybody in Seattle thinks they're going to the playoffs and then they just forget how to win like they did a couple of years ago, when they went on that torrid opening run and was like, they're going to the World Series. I'm like, no, they're not. Just wait. It's not like fine wine. It won't age well.
Wait for it.
And it fails. But I think the Angels, they do have that offensive power. And really all you need is a couple extra runs from the offense, and you need the pitchers just to get one more strikeout or one more out or last one more inning. And if I remember correctly, the Angels, it's not like the Angels get like shelled or beat up really bad a lot, is it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, they lose a lot of really close games, it seems like.
Yeah. And now just to kind of add on to that, I don't know how you necessarily quantify this, but there does appear to be some good vibes around the team. It does feel like they're having more fun. And again, I don't know how to quantify any of that, but hopefully that provides some sort of positive impact for the team.
There's this one pitcher, I forgot what his name was, but every time he faced the Astros, it was like 3 years ago, he would just like silence them. He always got hurt though. He was the starting pitcher. What was his name?
Was it Schumacher?
No, not Shoemaker. It was this was
3 years ago.
3 or 4 years ago. It's he was like, I forgot what his name was. But anyway, I always hated facing him because he was always gonna bring his A game. But I think the Angels are a team I do like facing because I do like playing against Mike Trout. It is fun watching him play. It is fun watching Albert Pujols when he's not facing Brad Lidge.
Yeah. I was at that game, by the way. Were you there? Yeah. Oh my God.
We were all there when that ball was just going in. Yeah.
You could hear the ball hit the tracks and the back window. It was that quiet in the stadium. It was like you sucked the oxygen out of the room. And I saw an interview with Pujols about a year or two after that. He said he could hear the dirt crunching under his cleats when he was running the bases. And I was in section 419, row 14, seat 8, I believe.
Let's say that the Angels are within 3 games of the wild card or the Astros or A's come trade deadline. Do you see them being buyers or sellers?
It's funny. I talked about this on yesterday's episode of Locked On Angels, and I said if they're within a couple of games, they got to go for it. It's been too long. They've got to take advantage of what they have right now. You don't know how long Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon are going to be this good. So if you're close, semi-close, take advantage of it. Go for it.
Okay, so how many wins do you think the Astros, Angels, Athletics, and Angels get in that order?
So I think it's going to be pretty close. I still have the Astros around 88 to 89 wins taking the division. I think the Angels are 84 to 86, maybe. The A's are maybe right behind them. I think it's going to be close. I think 3 teams are going to be like within 5 wins of each other.
Wow, Brett.
Cool. Oh, me, I think the Astros are going to get, like I said, I'm going to stick with 91 wins. I think whoever comes in second, whether it's the Angels or the Athletics, will come in at 88, 89 wins. And then the other team will come in just 2 or 3 wins behind that. I think it's going to be a close race. I think it's, for as quote unquote weak as the West is, it's not
There's no super teams, really.
yeah, there's no, it's not like the Padres and Dodgers are squaring off against each other every weekend. But that would be nice. Maybe one day we get there. But yeah, I think the Rangers, whatever. I think they play minor league ball. I don't know if they play in the major leagues right now. Their stadium looks like a barbecue grill. So, but yeah, I think it's Astros 91, Angels. We'll say the Angels in second, taking the wild card 89 because I love beating Oakland, and we'll say 86 for the A's, and they miss out.
I'm not hearing a wild card team in the AL West here, guys, with those amount of wins.
Well, okay. You know what? Thanks, Eric.
You can't change your mind. You can't change the rules when.
Well, I think 88 or 89 wins might get you there. It's possible.
There's not going to be a 100-win team in the AL.
Well, I know, but normally it takes a 90-win team to get a wild card. Because look at the AL East. Don't you think the Yankees are going to win more than 90 games? What about
they have Garrett Cole and all their other pitchers combined have 3 outs more than you and I pitched last year.
Don't you think the Rays can win 90 games accidentally?
Probably.
Yeah.
They're probably going to find a way to
what about
the playoffs again.
What about the Blue Jays?
I don't think they get there. I don't think they get to 90 wins this year.
They just got bad injury news today too. Springer's got the oblique issue. Kirby Yates is out for the year. So they just
Hold on. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Kirby Yates?
Drop him for your fantasy leagues.
Exactly.
Good thing I didn't pick him.
Oh crap. I don't have him in the leagues, but I need to go pick up a closer. What about the Central? Who do you see in the Central? It's hard.
I have the Twins barely, but I honestly, Twins or White Sox. I think the White Sox could make like a deep playoff run. Like I think that's a really talented team.
No, yeah, it is. They're good.
Yeah, I see them like the 2015 Astros. I think they have a lot of young talent mixed with the right amount of veterans, and they could get hot. The 2015 Astros were so close to advancing, but that one game 4 of the ALDS. That was like
I was on my way to Academy.
Yes,
we had a 5-run lead.
Uh-huh. I was at that game.
I got to Academy. The closer I got to Academy, they were selling us. I was literally about to pull in the parking lot and they lost, and I was like, I'll never do this. So once game 5, I didn't go to Academy early.
Yes. Alrighty. So that's all we got for today's Locked On Astros and Locked On Angels podcast. Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Brett. And guys, don't forget to go subscribe to us on, Spotify, or wherever you listen to our podcast, and go give us thumbs up on our YouTube channel. And Brent, you need to get a YouTube channel. It's actually pretty fun. And all you have to do is upload the video. So we'll talk to you later, and go Astros, and suck it, Angels.
Great ending.